Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's your boy DMR. I got my man Dacus, my traveling brother here. We are just gonna talk about our experiences, traveling experiences. He's gonna tell me a little bit about himself and his experiences and all that. We're just gonna do basic stuff. So, with no further, interruptions or nothing, I would like to introduce my boy Dacus. He's my YouTube traveling brother. All right,
Well,
man.
ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know me now, you know. Mr. Dacus, the Navigator. We just gonna lay it down for a little bit, couple of minutes. You know, tell you how we do it on our side.
Okay, so Dake, I got a question for you. What what sparked your interest about travel?
Traveling. Okay. Years ago, I don't know if you remember, it was a movie. It was like called the Boy with the Red Balloons, like old school
Okay,
French movie.
right,
So it was like the movie was done in France.
okay,
So I was like, okay, this is it just got me interested in like what's going on in other parts of the world. And then the other thing was, I grew up watching a lot of TV, like subtitle movies, TV shows. So that was the first thing, and then the second thing was, uh, I had so much time racked up on my vacation that I just decided, you know what, I had a conversation with one of my coworkers, an older lady, and she was like, um, you don't have any children, you don't got a whole bunch of responsibilities. You if when I was your age, I was all over the place. I used to travel, go here, blah blah blah. When she said go out, she didn't really mean like to go overseas. She's just saying like, what I don't have any children, no responsibilities at my age. When I'm in my 20s, I should go out and just enjoy my life. So I'm like, okay.
right.
So then it sparked my interest to start traveling, and then that was when I started going to Canada.
Okay, now, so if you don't mind me asking this, what year was that sparked the interest in you?
All right, see. Oh, by the way,
All right, sister.
there's somebody that was in the background listening to us. Shout your IG real quick. Say it again.
Tahira Gatlin. I give a
Tahir
I give a
Gatlin.
shout out to
All right,
Tahir.
we got a little
Gatlin.
audience, so.
All right, sis.
Okay.
Have a
Anyway,
nice day.
so
All right.
I think that was like 2002, 2003 that I had that conversation.
Right. 2003. Okay.
Yeah, about that time.
Okay. So you was actually SYDM in 2003.
I mean, if you want to say that, well, that I mean, I wouldn't even say that at that time because I would just, you know, she would just tell, and this is a woman, mind you, this is a woman telling me this.
Okay.
Okay, she was the one. It was a female saying, you should start, only because you're young, you don't
Right.
have any responsibilities. Instead of focusing on trying to settle down, you should. So if you want to say that, basically, I wouldn't say
Well-
that that's red pill though. But
Well, no. I'm just saying because it don't matter where the information come from, whether it's a sister or brother,
or other.
right, or other. But,
Yeah.
But I'm just saying from your experiences that since you got the information, you start to execute that information in 2003.
Just
Okay.
like that.
Okay.
That's the first layer, basically. Because I will say that I did have family who, like, of course, most people that got family that's in the military, and then I've had cousins that lived overseas, but that didn't really push me to want to have any interest. It's like, oh yeah, we got grew up in Germany, blah blah blah.
Okay.
At that time, I really didn't. It wasn't until, just like you said, the information was important to me that you should start, exploring more about having a good time. And the conversation wasn't even about traveling the world. It just clicked in me that that's how I interpret
Right.
it. So I was like, she's right. I don't have. And she said this twice. The first time I was like, whatever. The second time she was like, she said it again, and it was like, she's right. It's like I don't have any children. I don't have any, anything that's holding me back. Might as well just get it done now, get it out of the way. And this was just traveling. This has nothing to do with like being an expat or anything, which is like we get into that later on.
Okay. So now, you said your first place was Canada, right?
Yeah,
Okay. If I may ask you, what part of Canada?
Toronto.
Toronto, Canada. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you not really go into detail about everything you did, but can you just give us a brief description on what you what experiences that you had and how did you compare Toronto to the United States?
Honestly, the truly, I really didn't see much difference at the time. She was, because it almost seemed like, you see how it is, like you see the environment here.
Right.
If you was to tell me I was in Canada right now, I would believe you because it almost seemed the same. The only thing that was different was the currency.
Okay.
Because I honestly, but the only thing that the other thing that was different was like the fact that I was away from like the neighborhood.
Okay.
So I was like,
Okay.
that was the other thing that made it feel different. Um, I did also turned a lot of guys use as pregame. I did pregame before I went out there, so that was a good experience. Won't get too much into that, but um, the food really wasn't much different.
Right. Okay.
It was just the simple. The other thing was at the time, this was like after 9/11, so they made a lot of changes because back then, when you go to Canada, you didn't like Americans. We didn't need a passport. We could just use a birth certificate and your ID. So it's like at that time, I didn't go by airplane. I went by bus.
My bus.
So
Okay.
that was like a long scenic route.
Okay.
So
So you took the Delta bus,
yeah,
mega bus.
I think I don't remember what I think it could be Greyhound or something like that. It was a long time ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. When you okay, so what was your experiences with the ladies like, and the personality like between the Matrix ladies and the ladies in Toronto like?
Okay, so two of the females that I met, actually three of them, all three of them were like heavy in the church,
Okay.
and I'm actually still in contact with one of them now on Facebook.
Nice.
The
Nice.
other one, so they all of them. The thing that's like common in the U.S. I Canada, they most of them is like majority immigrant.
Okay.
So all of the females had Caribbean background.
Right. Okay.
So I guess if you was to say if I was to go meet somebody from New York, it'd be the same thing as meeting somebody in Toronto.
I feel what you're
So
saying.
almost similar, but and you notice a lot of the Canadians, they got the way that they pronounce things. It's kind of you can
Right.
tell that they different because of their accent.
Okay.
So almost like I said, the difference is like most of them had a Caribbean background.
Hmm.
You know,
Okay.
yeah,
So that was Toronto, right?
yeah.
Okay. What's the next country that you've been to?
After Canada was Trinidad.
Trinidad.
Yeah,
Okay. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
that was. I remember. Shout out to guy Ed, the guy I went to high school with. No, I didn't go to high school with him. I used to work with him. He used to work at the library, and every now before I even had my own internet, I used to go to the library and then use their computer.
Okay.
So he come by, say what's up, that but
Right.
whatever, and then like one day it was a Saturday, he came by and he was like he was talking about going on a Jamaican cruise
Hmm.
or all inclusive.
Right.
I was like, oh, for real? I was like, okay. And he was like, he said he tried to go online and meet some girls, just like back then. They didn't say pregame back then, but basically that's what he was doing. He was like trying to meet somebody there. So once he get to Jamaica, he could like go do his thing in the resort,
Right.
and if he get a chance, he meet somebody. So we just got talking. He's like, you know what? Why don't we go online right now and then look and see if we can find somebody? So we came up like we was looking and searching, and a website called Island Vibe, something like it was one of them Caribbean style dating websites.
Hmm.
So right then and there, right on the spot, I created a profile.
Okay.
Met somebody. Make a long story short, some girl from Jamaica, but she was going to school in Trinidad.
Hmm.
So we talked for a couple of months, and springtime came, and I'm trying to figure out what's the next place I want to go to. And then boom, she was like, "Well, why don't you come here?" So it's like common sense. It's like
Okay.
So she's like, "Why don't you come visit?" And that's what led me to go to Trinidad.
Trinidad. Okay. I have a question. Can you explain the cuisine of the Trinidadian people? I mean, as far as the food, like, did you enjoy the food, and
Yeah.
what kind of food did you have?
The only thing that I had is of course they had Caribbean food like rice peas and fish,
Right.
and then they got this thing that they sell called doubles.
Doubles,
I
okay.
don't know if you're familiar with that or not.
No, I'm not.
Okay, that's like um, it's something wrapped up with a bunch of beans,
Hmm.
almost like I don't know if it's the same, but it's almost like
Like a rat.
basically, and
Okay.
it's like with beans in it,
Mhm.
and that was the only other thing that I had. But truthfully honest, and this was her. Also, her she liked going to KFC,
Right,
but I will
right.
tell you, like their KFC, um, they had food that was mostly spicy.
Spicy food, okay.
Yeah, and
So it was kind of different than the United States.
right, and that's I'm sure you may know or not. You probably do. When you go like certain countries, even if it's like a big franchise, they add their own flavor to their own whatever it is that they got in their culture.
Right, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
so that's
yeah.
what they had in Trinidad. It's
Yeah.
like, um, and I had a culture shock because when I was there, because you go to KFC, they got the coleslaw chicken and with the
Right.
like you get your chicken with the side. I just said I ordered it was one side was mashed potato and the other one was macaroni and cheese.
Right,
When I
right.
said that, the girl looked at me like I was the alien, and so I was like, because she looked at me, she didn't know what that was. So apparently they didn't have that on the menu. So I was
Right.
like, okay, just give me rice.
Right, okay.
You know, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to get rice because then now you don't have any vegetables or whatever. So I was like, all right, just give me rice.
Right, right,
So
okay.
and the girl that I was with, she liked going there, so we went there a lot only because she liked going there.
Right.
So uh, that's pretty much type. Of course, we had Chinese food,
Hmm.
but I really didn't go too deep in cuisine other than doubles and regular rice and peas and
Okay, right,
fish.
right. So, can you elaborate on if you don't mind me asking you this,
Yeah,
the women? I mean, because I just want to get the audience. We don't get graphic on this channel.
we gonna get graphic or
No,
no?
no, don't. No,
Okay,
I
cause
don't. I don't get graphic on this channel. But
yeah,
I just want to find some kind of just find out how are their attitudes toward American men.
yeah,
Because we all know that we deal with a certain experience here inside the matrix.
yeah.
So I just want to get the audience some kind of feeling about what like vibes do they give you.
All right, so I didn't like I said in Canada. I really didn't see much difference other than like I mean if you think about 2003. I mean, and like I said, these like the three of them that I met, they like church girls. So you gonna get the experience that you gonna get as for church girls, and
Okay.
for them being from the Caribbean, of course they wanna take you places or whatever. So that's as far as Canada's concerned. As far as Trinidad with the girl that I met who was from Jamaica, I will say, in her respect, she she was very protective of me. I will tell you that.
Mm.
Only mostly because I was a foreigner. She is very protective of me because like we go places and you might have somebody selling CDs. Before I even put my hands on it, she'd make sure that she made the guys like, look,
Right.
play this and make sure
Oh, okay.
it's legit. And I'm gonna make sure you get the right price for this.
Right.
Or
Okay.
like if we go anywhere, she'll make sure that she'll be the one to negotiate the price. Or even I tell you this, when I made, because this is way before bookings, Expedia, even before that. See back then, when you want to stay somewhere, a certain place like a developing country, whatever,
Right.
you just go online and then you find them at the place and you send them an email saying you coming to this date. This is before you could actually put your dates in,
Yeah,
right? You just
yeah.
send them an email and they say if they're available for dates or not. So what she did was, this is even before I even knew it. What she did was she found a place for me, and she found a good place. She made sure that it was right, the right price, everything, and she convinced them that she knows me and she had everything set up for me. So when I even got there, everything was set.
Right.
Like I didn't even have to lift a finger because she had everything lined up for me.
Hmm.
So I mean,
Okay.
as far as as far as she's concerned, she pretty much everything was lined up for me.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. So now we have Toronto, and we have the Caribbean. We got
Trinidad.
Trinidad,
Yeah,
right? And I find it very interesting those two places, man, because I wanted to travel to Toronto. I thought about it in
yeah,
Trinidad, Tobago too.
yeah.
And one of my coworkers, her family's from there. I thought about it,
Right.
but moving on, and I just want to thank you for that second country.
Yeah.
If you want to elaborate on one more country, or do you want to just,
The
not
next
not doing it until next time?
the next country
Yeah.
was I mean, cause I've been a couple places.
Okay.
So I think the next country was Ghana. I think that was Ghana.
Ghana.
Yeah, that was one of the
Oh, okay.
after Trinidad was Ghana.
Okay.
Yeah, that was 2005.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Ghana was I didn't really I did pregame with Ghana, and this is where because it's farther from where I used to be, that was like that was like hardcore test for me.
Okay. So meaning what? Meaning in what way?
Okay, so if you think of places like Trinidad and Canada, those places is pretty much like they have a little they had a little sector set up for tourists,
Okay.
right? Whereas Ghana, even though it was cause they didn't have no dual return back then, or something for repasses, because this is '05. So I wasn't really like they are kind of used to foreigners, and it with me being like new to the country. See, in Trinidad, I had somebody to speak on my behalf, whereas in Ghana, I didn't have no. There was no touristy area where even though everything is expensive, everything had a set price. If this bottle of water is $1, it's $1. Or if this, just like how you got your bag, if the bag is $5, there's no negotiating, right? So with with Ghana, everything that I needed to buy, I had to negotiate for,
Hmm.
and the problem was I didn't. Like it's like this is what the price is, and I'm like okay, and I had a bad. Okay, the thing is, I'll tell you this real quick. There was an incident the first day, and it should have clicked in my head, and unfortunately it didn't, but it was a learning experience. The day that we got is like there was a guy that came into the into Ghana from the same airline, and he ended up staying in the same bed and breakfast
Okay.
that I stayed in.
Right.
So they had set us up with a personal driver.
Hmm.
So he took us places, and that was a whole nother story of what he decided to do. We'll get into that if you want to.
Okay.
So after that whole mishap that he pulled on us, he took us back to the bed and breakfast, and he told us, "This is what you paying me." And the guy that was next to me, he was like, "No, I'm not paying you that."
Right.
And he was like, "What you gotta pay this because this car has air conditioning and this, that, and the other, and blah blah blah. This is a unique car." He said, "I don't care about that.
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm not paying you that." So you can tell he was pretty much more experienced traveler than I was, because it's like he just said, "This is how much it costs." Okay, so me being naive at the time, it's like he told
Right.
me what should have negotiated,
Okay.
right?
Let me ask you this question. Can you share with the audience what is the currency of Ghana?
Ghana CDs,
Ghana CDs.
yeah,
Okay. So
CEDIS.
so do you transfer your currency at the bank? Do you transfer it at the airport? How you transfer the currency?
I did it at the at the hotel.
Okay.
Some people say, "Oh, can I give a good tip?"
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Go
Some
ahead.
people say, "Don't exchange your money at the airport," but I kind of agree because the rates are going to be higher. But me personally, if you've never been to the country before, my personal opinion is just exchange enough. Unless you got somebody that's going to pick you up, because some places they pick you up for free. Um, if you're going to use a taxi, more than likely you might want to exchange some just enough to get you from the airport to where you need to where you're staying at.
Right.
That way you can pay the driver if they want to stop get something to drink. Maybe you want to get some souvenirs. You know, so I mean, you don't have to exchange all of it, just enough.
Okay.
So to answer your question, I went to It's like a hotel that did, because most of the big name hotels they exchange your money, and also I used my bank card at the time to
Okay,
get some
okay,
money out of the ATM.
okay. Let me ask you this, Dacus. From all the countries that we've mentioned, Toronto, Trinidad, and Ghana,
Hmm.
which one of them countries do you think that you can live in if you had to live in?
If I had between those three,
Yeah,
okay, but between those three to live in, uh, I think I would say Ghana.
Ghana. Okay,
Yeah,
why is that?
Ghana. I think because it's farther. Um, things like the infrastructure in Ghana has improved since I've been there. Uh, it's even though people say it's expensive compared to the U.S., it's still cheaper, and it's Africa.
Okay,
You know what I'm saying?
okay.
Yeah. So I mean, between those three, I would pick if I only had to pick those three, I would say Ghana.
Ghana. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So that's because the living conditions you think that they're more compatible to your liking, right?
It's starting to, yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's like a lot of people saying that they're expensive,
Right.
and I wouldn't necessarily say that it's expensive. I mean, I guess it depends on your pockets, but they do have a lot of things that accommodate quote unquote Westerners. You know, I mean, and if you want us to go somewhere that's like outside of the city limits, a lot of people are going to places like Tema and Kamachi.
Come on,
Kamasi.
see, okay.
Yeah, so you have, so obviously the further away from Accra and the major cities you stay, it's going to be cheaper, but you might have to deal without certain amenities.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah,
So we covered three countries, right?
yeah,
Um, let me ask you this question, and you know, this is a question I ask every, African American because
yeah,
y'all know my channel deal with social issues. I deal with fitness issues. I deal with traveling, mainly traveling, but because I can't travel every time,
right,
I implement everything else in my videos.
right.
I want to ask you, do you consider yourself SYBM?
Well, so that means save yourself, black man.
Okay, only from the stance of the experiences. Okay,
Yeah,
you we both have the same experiences.
true.
And I'm not trying to make this to a racial issue because it's not.
Right.
But we gotta be real.
Gotta acknowledge.
African American men, we catch the most racism. We catch from our own people.
Yeah,
So what I'm saying to you, when I say that term, when I'm saying all this stuff is compounding, some people that makes them travel.
right.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
do you feel, do you fall in that circle of people?
Slightly, yeah, I would say that.
Okay.
Even as far as Ghana's concerned, a lot of people, you have a lot of African Americans, males. Of course, like it's a lot of females too. But if we just gonna stick strictly to the males, it's been a lot of men that's gone. They packed everything. They moved to Ghana.
Right,
They
right.
made their way,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
they never felt more free. I just personally like to travel just to get away from all the nonsense,
Right.
the
Well,
recharge.
well. As far as the nonsense
Mm-hmm.
is a part of all of this
Yeah,
craziness that we're seeing,
it's part of the package.
cause we know the matrix has changed from 2003, the time you travel, until 2022.
Right,
So things are constantly changing.
right.
Okay. So that term, ladies and gentlemen, audience, SYBM is not a racist term. It's just I'm just using that because I use the term SYMM too. If you heard me, I speak about save yourselves from Matrix Man
Yeah,
because I'm not going to elaborate on everything because I got to speak my piece next. But I just wanted to ask Brother Dacus this question to give the audience a view of why people travel that look like me and him.
yeah.
It's not a racial issue. But we have to deal with facts and we have to deal with reality that's going on in the matrix.
Right.
So I want to ask you this,
Hmm.
brother Dacus. Um, have you ever been to Latin America before?
Uh, I've been to the Dominican Republic.
Okay, well, if you want to share that.
Okay, I'm glad. I'd only been there once, and that was for actually, honestly, that was what motivated me to get a passport because uh, I used to live on close to where the DMV used to be back in the day.
On the west side.
Wood was that
Well,
Woodlawn area?
yeah,
I used to live in that area.
yeah.
So there's a lot.
Woodlawn
So
trustees, right?
right. So in
Yeah.
that little area, like vicinity, it's a lot of people, like Puerto Rican and Dominicans.
Right, right.
So you see the little flags. It's like what? I think that's the country I need to go to. Only because you see a lot of Dominican flags, right? And this is before, like, mind you, I've been to Canada. That you would think that DR motivated me to get my passport,
Right.
but I ended up going to Canada. So, like I said, ironically, that's what motivated to get my passport,
Hmm.
right? So several years like later, I ended up going there like in 2010 or 11.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
I pretty much had the thing about going, like, to answer your question. The thing about Dominican Republic, and this is some tips for people that's never traveled before. Make sure you call your bank and let them know that you're going overseas, right? Because that's what ruined my trip, right?
Yeah.
Because I had it like once I got there, I was able to pay for my hotel,
Hmm.
and then I was able to withdraw some funds from the ATM.
Hmm.
Once I withdrew funds from the ATM, that's when the bank
Hmm.
shut my account down.
Hmm.
So for a whole week, I was there for 2 weeks, but for the whole first week, I no longer had any access to any more funds. I
Right.
did, like, luckily I had enough money, and my hotel was paid for, so I didn't have
Hmm.
to pay anything. I paid half of it. What I did was I paid for the first week, and I had a little bit of funds. So I was like on
Hmm.
borrowed time. So finally, towards the end of that first week, I was able to um, get by and then pay. The thing I will say about that in the Dominican people is, even though I was limited on funds, when I hung out with a lot of the locals, we did so much stuff that money wasn't an issue. And I will say, like, I had hired a driver.
Okay.
You know, I had like, he was like, look, let's go here, let's go. He was sending me texts, let's go here, let's go here. He's just telling me, like, every day is like, we going, we going. I'm like, not to send them a text message and reply one day, and I was like, I don't have enough money to pay you for these. Like, and then he replied back, he's like, you worry about money too much.
Right.
So basically,
Right.
he was
Right.
like, I understand you limit on funds only. He understood. He was just saying, I understood your situation. Don't worry about money. You gonna pay me when you get a chance. So he's like, don't even worry about money.
Right.
So, so I'm like, okay, that's fine. And that's when he took me places. Then, like I said, he had met locals. They took me around. We went all kinds of different places where money wasn't even an issue.
Hmm.
So I was like, I will give Dominican people kudos, you know, making sure that when foreigners, well, at least as far as I'm concerned, when I got there, they made sure that I had a good time in the country and didn't ask me for a dime.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. 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 Well, yeah, DR. I know some people that's been to DR. And I heard DR is a good country, and I would elaborate on that also. But
Yeah.
right now, you know, it's your time, and I just want to ask you in closing, what's your message to not so much SYBM, but what's your message to SYMM, Matrix Men?
Well, I would say that it's a big world out here, and as a matter of fact, I want to say this real story real quick. The second thing that got me want to travel and become an expat when I'm older, um, there's a guy that was on my job.
Hmm.
He was approaching retirement age, but he wanted to keep working.
Right.
The people that were responsible for, like, paying everything, what they did was they went in because they were like trying to get more people to retire,
Yeah.
you know. So what they came to him and it was like, "Are you considering retiring?" He's like, "No." They only asked. They can't tell you have to retire. You know, because once you reach a certain point in your career, you only get but so much a year,
Okay.
like as far as raise. So you already tapped out. So they showed him what he's entitled to. He's like, well, I got a mortgage, blah blah blah. So what they did was they showed him what he was entitled to, right?
Right.
So he had enough money to retire, even with the mortgage. He's like, no problem, I'm gonna keep working. One day, what happened was he died.
Right.
On the day where he was supposed to go to work, he had I think he had heart problems or something. Because he's a mechanic by trade.
Okay.
So in the autopsy, what happened was on the day that he was supposed to work, he was on his bed slumped over. So he had a sock in his hand. So apparently he was supposed to go to work that day, but he just on the day where he was supposed to go to work, he done died.
Oh,
He just
man.
passed away.
Wow.
So, and I was saying to myself, if that was me, and they gave me some kind of indication it's time to retire, I got enough money saved up. I got some retirement money that's coming that I know is gonna come when I retire.
Right.
I got like some investments.
Yes. Yes.
And it's like and
Yes.
that way I can get away. I don't have to be tied to the job. Because if you want to save, if you really want to get to the nitty gritty, he basically worked himself to death, right? Whereas if he was to take a vacation sometime, he can go get away, free his mind, come back. Maybe he wouldn't have so much stress on his heart, and he knows that once he retired, he knows there's other places where he can go to,
Right.
because unfortunately you have some people when they reach retirement age, and of course that's their choice. They want to retire, or they don't want to retire. They want to keep working because just the thought of not having to work again, they get bored. Whereas, like for some people, right, and you disagree with that, right? Whereas, go ahead.
The reason why I disagree, Dake, is because you don't work like 40, 50, 60 years of your life, right? Now, okay, I get bored.
Right.
This is why I say it's important for the SYMM.
Tell
because you got men, man, that got the money.
Tell it.
They going back to work when they can go overseas and live the rest of their lives, even if it's 20 or 10 years, man.
Right.
So the reason why this video is made is to encourage not only the young men, but the older men too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the main thing. You know what I mean?
That was my same perspective. Is like right now, even me, I can speak for myself.
Right.
I can't imagine going places without having to put in a vacation request. That's where I'm at now. But so just imagine like 20 years from now where I can just go anywhere. I don't have to worry about a vacation request. And if I wanted, I don't have to go become an expat full time. I can go and do it 6 months out of the year, 3 months out of the year, a month. Right. That way I know there's another world out there. When you retire, you got a whole bunch of things that you can volunteer, start your own business, or I don't know, maybe you can start going to another place and you got your own little garden. You got just think about the roster. You got videos of guys that's like in their 70s. They can tell you every plant that's in their garden, and they can point to this. They know the name of that garden, how long that grew, because they got the time to do it,
Right.
And you got guys that's like John Thompson from that lives in Brazil. That man has got to be in his 70s. He carrying on himself like he's an older teenager.
Right.
So something like that you want to think about. You want to be able to get your money right. So once you approach retirement, you can think about going other places, enjoying your golden years.
Yes.
And and enjoying, the other parts of the world. You don't necessarily have to go and live overseas. You just start traveling the world and enjoying what the world has to offer.
Right.
Just keep yourself busy, because why would you work 50 plus? I'm just being like facetious, 50 years.
Right.
I mean, and even if you did, why work 50 years of your life and say, I'm gonna just keep working? Why not just take some time off and enjoy your life see what the world has to offer, and it don't even have to be about female. I mean, but if that's part of it, then that's part of it.
Right.
So
Okay.
I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
because that moment that I experienced, that I saw, that's really what got me motivated to say, I need to get my money right,
right.
save up enough. That way, when it's time for me to retire, whatever age that is, I know exactly what I'm gonna do. Because I don't want to work myself to death.
Right.
Like I said, I wonder if he ended up just taking some time off, a week, 2 weeks, and just get away. Would that be enough to take stress off of him?
Well, yeah. Because see, the thing is that man, stress leads to death,
Yeah.
and it's the leading cause. A lot of people say it's the leading cause of black people. No, it's the leading cause of man. Period. I don't care if you're black, white, green, polka dot, yellow.
Right.
Too much stress on the heart's gonna cause you to leave here.
Yeah. And he had heart problems.
You know what I'm saying? And my thing is, what you can do is combat by you cut stress. The best I forgot the word, man, but the best way how to combat stress is to find something that relaxes you.
Right.
And
peace of mind.
And a peace of mind.
Yeah.
And me and you both agree, as far as everybody else that we know that's in the traveling game.
Right.
One equalizer is get that passport.
Yeah.
That passport is the main thing.
Yeah. Why else do you think people go on retreats?
Right.
Right?
Right.
You got a lot of women that go to places like Bali. You got people like I got this book that I read where this guy, he was an alcoholic.
Mm.
But there was some number of events that led him going to some off location area where they actually help people like foreigners to get their life together, to cleanse them, to get the alcohol out their system, something like that. He needed to get away.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. Why else do you think people have retreats? Every man, well, we specifically talk about men. Every man needs a place where they can get away and get to free their mind. Like some people, like I remember I was being asked one time. It's like, when you go away to these places, what do you do? I'm like, well, shoot, I might go take some pictures, go to the nightlife, and sometimes I might just stay in a hotel. And they're like, well, why would you do that? It's like, you spend all that money to go and stay in a hotel. Either way, I'm still in another country. I'm still far away from my environment.
Right.
So I could go, like, what's these hotels in here? You got the West End. What's other places you got? So you just name any big name hotel that's American.
Right.
I could go somewhere like, I don't know, Jamaica or Thailand, and I might stay in that same hotel overseas. It's like, well, I'm in an American continental hotel. But it's like they might ask, why would you just stay in a hotel all day? It's like, well, why not? I'm still in a different environment. If I look out that window and I'm in Thailand, even though I'm in a American branded hotel, and it's all the same inside, if I look out that window, you can't sit there and tell me that that's not gonna give me peace and tranquility.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Even when I went to London, we didn't go to all the countries I've been to, but and then you look out your window, you might see things out there. And I got a story of when I was in London, staying in a hotel all day. We won't even get into that unless you want me to. But it's those experiences that I had, that I probably would never go deal with if I stayed home.
Right.
I got stories. And the other thing is, like, the other thing that motivated me to travel is the fact that it gave me something to brag about to my coworkers.
Yeah, to brag
like,
about.
Right, because I can come back from whatever country, and I can just say, oh, they haven't seen me for a while, so they assume if they haven't seen me in a while, then they know that I've been somewhere.
Right.
So I got stories to come back with.
Right. Okay.
Right, and
okay.
they're like, oh wow, you brave.
Okay.
You actually went there and you didn't have any trouble. And of course I had some trouble, but not life-threatening trouble. So it was good for me to be able to brag about going somewhere and having stories. And I got flashbacks of stuff that I'm just now remembering right now that I forgot all about.
Right. Okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
So
you know,
this to me, it's good. It's been good for my mental state to be able to get out of this environment and go somewhere else. And then and the other thing is to be able to work hard to navigate. And that's what I came up with the name from, because it's like you take yourself from a place where they don't speak no English, and you gotta try to get around, and it's hard work because you gotta communicate, you gotta learn the language, you gotta learn the money, it's just constantly learning. So even like as far as your mental state, it's breaking up the monotony. Like I don't know, like even with TD Jakes, he said something about being able to work your mind every now and then. So it's like when you got to learn something new or you're doing something new, it's like you constantly exercise your
right,
mind.
right.
You know, you don't want to keep doing the same thing over
The same
and over.
thing over and over.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you travel to another country in a place you've never been to, I mean, what better example than to go somewhere and you got to learn the language, learn to get away, get around,
right.
negotiate. You see somebody, you see a female that you like, she don't speak English.
Right.
Now you gotta learn the language.
Right.
Try to talk to her.
Right. Okay. Well, Brother Dacus, I thank you. This is not going to be the only episode that we're going to do.
I hear you.
We're going to do about a couple more down the line.
Yeah.
And, you know, I just want to thank you very much for sharing
So
your experiences about your traveling.
Yeah.
And again, ladies and gentlemen, this is only the first episode of the Traveling Bros experience.
Yeah, because I didn't even get into all of my countries. I didn't get, because you just said the 3. I'm like, yeah, I didn't even get to my experiences.
Yeah.
Because I got stories.
But
not
we're going to have a part 2.
Yeah, that's
coming.
Yeah.
And we're going to leave off where we left off. And we're going to do 3 or 2 or
however you want
the experiences. If somebody else had one, we're going to do one. Okay?
However you want to do it, yeah.
So with that being said, I want to thank everybody. Again, this is my brother Dacus.
Dacus the Navigator.
Dacus the Navigator, my brother. This is our first time meeting face to face. It's a pleasure.
I had to pull up.
and it's very encourageable. It's very encourageable to meet people online and then face to face.
Yeah.
You know, that's the beautiful thing about social media, is that you get to hook up with people, whereas we didn't have this 20 years ago. About what? 30 years ago, we didn't have none of this.
Nope. I didn't even, when I started traveling, there was no YouTube. There was nothing. Like now, everybody's like, they look at YouTube.
Right.
Like I didn't have nothing.
But see,
nothing.
that's the beauty.
Powerful?
That's the beauty of technology. You see, technology can be used as a bad thing.
Yeah.
It can be used as a good thing.
Positive.
You know what I'm saying? So again, brothers and sisters and audience, I want to thank you again. Until next time, peace.
Get the passport.